for just accepting our request, and he was a very backbone of us in arranging this program, and a lot of insights for this program was being done by Mr. Arun. So first of all, I welcome Mr. Arun on behalf of Mapel Tech Solutions and Ozur, and I'll welcome all other participants for this session. And it's going to be a very lively session where we can draw a lot of insights from Mr. Arun's vast experience. So I just give a brief, just to give a brief note about Mr. Arun. Mr. Arun is currently is a managing director of Top League Business Consulting and Training Services, Chennai. He comes out with a very rich experience of maybe many of you might be knowing. Maybe this introduction is for people who are not knowing about him. So around some 41 years of experience in this industry, and and also one important point to be noted is he is being a CEO of many pharma industries for more than 20 years. So we have a very good speaker with us. We can get a lot of information from him today. He is a very decisive leader in promoting the operational improvement, market expansion, and positive corporate work culture. His expertise is on P&L management, corporate restructuring, then change management, budgeting, brand building. So today, Mr. Arun is there with us just to talk about what could be a post-corona thing, and he is going to give us insights how, as an industry, we should be ready enough to see when the corona is getting settled down. So now, over to Mr. Arun. Sir, it's all yours. Stage is all yours. Please carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Ergamani.
Yeah.
Can you please transfer the host to me?
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Ergamani, and welcome all of you. It's very nice of you to have come on this webinar.
Thank you.
There are lots of webinars going away, means being conducted at this moment across the country. And that you have selected us, I'm very grateful to you, and I'm sure you will benefit out of it. Before proceeding further, I would like to tell you how it is that I arrived at these 26 actionable plans which I propose to put in front of you for consideration. You see, I did a gap analysis based upon the understanding of the current situation and the desired state which we should reach after we have put the recovery process into action. Now, when the roadmap was prepared for this, I applied the MSME framework to identify the various problems which we are going to occur in various aspects of our business. And then applied the issue tree to break down those various problems into actionable things. That is how I have arrived at these 26 actionable programs, and I'm 100% sure this will benefit you a lot. I'm sure you all have been thinking very deeply about how to come out of this problem, not just from the lockdown period, but even from before that, when you must have heard about the appearance of this virus in China. And I'm sure you all have an action plan. And since you understand your business the best, much better than anybody else, I'm sure the action plan that you have in your mind will be a very good one. This will give you an opportunity to try and match it with what I am saying so that you will be able to confidently apply them. What's more, sometimes, one or two points we might miss, because what happens is normally whenever we plan in real life, we don't sit down with a pen and paper. There are very few people who pen down everything that they plan. And in the process, certain priorities keep changing, and we keep, changing the plans. And at the end of the day, when it comes to real application, we find ourselves a bit lost. Looking into that, this will give you a good opportunity, and I will also send you these 26 points at the end of the program. Now, before going into the program, let us see what are the parallels between this Corona 2020 pandemic and what we have to learn for it from the 1918 influenza pandemic, which wiped out nearly, by various estimates, between 26 to 50 million people the world over, and somewhere between 13 to 20 million people in India alone. There were three waves of the 1918 pandemic. The first wave came in March 1918 in the US. It was a very mild wave. It did not do much damage. And when people thought they were recovering, the second wave hit somewhere around September, and that really took a toll. It was a killer. It wiped out a huge number of people. Nearly 2/3 of the world population was infected, and the world population at that time was around 2 billion. Nearly 1/3 of the world population was infected, and more than 10% was the fatality rate. In the lower economic strata of India, 18.6% of the fatality rate. Among the rich, it was 8.2%, and the Britishers who were ruling us escaped with just 3%. But it was a massive killer. One thing which is to be noted is the urban areas were severely affected as compared to the rural areas. We were predominantly an agricultural society and not such an industrialized nation. And what is more, there was only 26% of the Indian population living in urban areas at that time. Today, my dear friends, it is 56%. There's been a huge migration of people from the rural sector to the urban. The pandemic in 1918 followed transportation route. The army was going back to its various countries from the First World War, and they carried the virus. In the same way, the transportation route from Wuhan to the rest of the world has what has hit the world. India got affected from the 10th of June. The first recorded case of the pandemic was on 10th of June when the soldiers were returning by ship and they were docked in Bombay. That means the first wave was ending when it entered India, and in the second wave and the third wave of January 1919, it wiped out more than 20 million Indians. The worst part of it was the first wave had attacked only the old and the very young, exactly as what COVID is being suspected to be doing. But the second and the third pandemic killed people between the age group of 15 and 40. Very dangerous. The whole thing took 2 years to subside. And the economic impact went on for nearly 3 years. It was not before 1922, that the world could raise up its head again. And by that time, millions of jobs were lost. Please bear in mind, at that time, we were an agrarian society. Even then, jobs were lost, wages have increased, industries were shut down, and there was total chaos, not only in India, but across the world. Economic borders were redrawn. Something very similar seems to be happening today. Economic borders are likely to be redrawn. Already talks have started about some countries trying to enter and buy up companies in other countries. Let us not get into that. So the similarities are very, very high. And at that time, you see, pharmaceutical intervention did not work. Non-pharmaceutical intervention only worked. Containment, social distancing. But unfortunately, there was censorship, media censorship during the World War I. So the messages, the actions which was taken by countries did not spread, and the virus spread like nobody's business, killing people right, left, and center. Today, at least the media, if it is going to behave in a responsible fashion, it will stop the panic, which sometimes it seems to be creating, and take the country forward. Friends, the government is doing everything that it can in all countries, not just here. But we as business leaders also have a responsibility to contribute to it. Okay, friends. You see, there are 5 steps to the recovery process. The first is our resolve with a positive mindset to face whatever is going to come. Because what is going to come is not a one-day affair. It's going to be a prolonged thing, and we have to maintain a positive mindset in the interest of our family, the society, the industry, our employees, and the nation. A positive mindset is very, very important to recover from this corona pandemic. The first is a resolve to succeed, to persevere, and continue the plan. What we are going to discuss today is resilience. What do we need to do before the shutdown is lifted, so that when the shutdown is lifted, we can move forward, hitting the ground running, so that on that day we are prepared for every action which is to be taken. The third step is the return or to a life of business. This is where the crunch comes. The way we are going to be doing business is going to be redefined. Obviously, people are already talking about remote working, and that could become the new normal. As much as possible, we will have to automate and start remote working, because even after the corona pandemic is supposed to have been overcome, social distancing is going to become a norm for at least 2 years' time. We cannot afford a second hit. For that, we have to keep this virus away from spreading at any cost. Once that becomes a new normal, crowded factories, crowded offices will have to be avoided. People will have to work remotely as far as possible. Your returning to normal is going to mean many things. Second thing is, till today we never were careful about providing for the future. But now we will have to reimagine our entire business process and see how we can reduce cost, increase efficiency, increase savings, so that if anything like this were to come about again in the near future of 1 to 2 years, we have sufficient reserve to face it for at least 6 months. Having been caught unguarded once, we should not allow that to happen again. So whatever model we plan to take should involve reimagining our entire business process. Big or small is not an excuse, because lots depends upon our ability to conceptualize and take it forward. Then to reform, we have to reform all that part of our work which we will realize now is redundant. We have to work in the most efficient manner, process efficiency as well as production efficiency. Everything we will have to bring into act. Efficiency is going to take on a different meaning for us in the new shift. There are 5 focus areas on which this coronavirus is going to attack us. In our business, it is going to have a serious impact on cash flow. The next is our manpower, our employees. The third is in terms of our inventory status. We have never been careful about inventory. We have never planned adequately. Today, it has caught us unawares totally. When I say we have never planned about inventory, what I mean to say is, we have planned based upon availability, not upon importance. There are some things which are very important for which we need to keep extra stock. And some things which are not very important, which can be delayed, but we, in all probability, from what I found by doing the survey on the current status, that has not happened. Then our supply chain, how we reach the goods to our people, how we interact with our customers, our suppliers, this is going to be one area which is going to be hit very badly. We will see how. And finally, the market demand. The general public is going to become very risk averse. Purchasing power is going to go down because earning capacity has gone down already. Lots of companies have gone in for salary cuts. Disposable income is going to reduce remarkably, enormously it is going to reduce. People are not going to be buying anything which is not required, and even then, only 75% of what is required they are going to buy. They are going to keep liquid cash with them because they really do not know what is going to come tomorrow. Under these circumstances, we have to be very careful in understanding the market demand. Let us see one by one what these points have to offer and how we have got to handle it. The first point is cash flow. The first action that we have to do before the company is reopened is to prepare a cash flow budget. This cash flow budget should be for a minimum period of 3 months. And in preparing this cash flow budget, please do not take into account receivables. That which brings in revenue should be your priority. Bringing in revenue should be your priority. No, you see, please don't function from the heart, function from the brain. Clearly prioritize only those things which are contributing to revenue generation should be considered in the priority. I know it's a difficult thing to ask, but then difficult times require difficult decisions. This is the period when our leadership potential is going to be tested. People talk a lot about leadership. People talk a lot about empathy. People talk a lot about emotional intelligence. Yes, we will talk, but after we overcome this crisis. That is no problem. We will continue talking about it. These are all excellent subjects to talk. But now we are in a lifeboat situation. And if the captain is not going to be very disciplined and pragmatic, the boat will sink and everyone with it will sink. Let that not happen. Now we come to the most difficult part. Layoffs. You see, there are 4 things in this. Layoff need not necessarily mean throwing someone out of the job. Layoff could also mean understanding who needs to be holding the fort, who can take a rest. Maybe there are a few employees who you would prefer stay with you, but at this juncture are not indispensable. Talk to them. You see, anyway, the market, the roof is going to be hit very badly with unemployment. People have to be ready for it. But you see, some people are important to the company, but not immediately necessary. Maybe, you could talk to them, ask them to go on leave without salary for 2-3 months and then come back and join. We will discuss all these things when we come to people, the second most important resource. In business, cash is king. So we are discussing cash first. And in cash, reduction of cost means reduction of people. Maybe some people will have to be asked to rejoin after some time. Some people are there who we think are very good and important, but on deeper analysis, you will find it is our liking for them that keeps them there, not their indispensability due to their ability. We'll have to take calls on such people. A huge amount of people would have already migrated away. Now, what do you do with them? Do you get back to that full strength or you work with a lower strength? All these things you will have to take a call now. Please sit down with a pen and paper and do it. Don't do it in the mind. Then look for additional revenue sources. Seriously look for additional revenue sources. This is a good indicator that only one stream of income might not suffice. You might have to diversify your business into other streams. This situation can give rise to many opportunities. So please look for other revenue sources. It could be anything. It could be a diversification. It could be, mortgaging a house or whatever it is. Now we come to the essential part. Plan your receivables and payables. We will discuss about this in greater detail and in very great detail when we come to supply chain. But plan your payables and receivables, but do not include that plan in your current cash flow budgeting. That plan should be a part of your cash flow budgeting post 3 months. Let us hope for the best that all your customers will pay you off immediately. But be prepared for the worst, that none of them will. Be prepared for the worst. Another very important aspect you have to keep in mind is, what are the taxes which are due from you? All sweet talking from the government is just plainly that, sweet talking. Because you see, states will demand from center. States will say, I don't have money, the tax is my biggest revenue. Center will say, unless you are paying the tax, how will I get? So we will be going round and round. It is a great question, If a snake starts swallowing its tail, at which point will the snake vanish? So you see, ultimately you will have to pay your tax, and the punishment for non-compliance is very high today. You don't want an added problem at a later date. So plan your tax component. And in the final analysis, what assistance is the government giving you? Look into that. One of the major problems here is, we oftentimes tend to listen to what people tell us in terms of what assistance government is giving. Do we go and check up ourselves? We don't. Don't do that. You go or you send a highly dependable person to the government authorities and departments and find out what assistance is available. Not just ask them what assistance you are giving. Please tell them your problem and tell them what you should do to get assistance. This is very important. Please go personally and find out what assistance you can get. So let's go again on this cash. There are 8 points in cash. Number 1, prepare a cash flow budget for the next 3 months based upon what you have in your hand today. If you have only 10,000 rupees, let that be the total sum with which you will plan your cash flow budget. Cash flow budget should take into account both your fixed and variable expenses. Cover everything and prepare it with what you have in hand. Don't have ifs and buts. If so and so gives, but if I don't give, all that, nothing. Only based upon what you have. Prioritize. The key word in budgeting is prioritize. Realize what is ultra important and then address that. And what is most important, any activity directed towards revenue generation is very, very priority. Third thing is cost cutting. Be very pragmatic. Don't be swayed by emotions. If we survive today, we will win the battle tomorrow. If we don't survive, there is nothing to do. So let us plan and cut costs so that we can attend to important things which are required. Calculate your layoffs. Who is absolutely important, who is not, who you can do without, who you will require tomorrow. All those things should be on your fingertips. Don't go by emotional impressions. Look for additional revenue sources. It could be anything. Some of you might not have planned for this, might not have money in your hand, liquid cash. Liquidity is a big problem. Remember one thing, what your books are showing as profit, what landed property you have got, what cannot be converted into immediate cash is of no use. What you require immediately is money, and for that, what are the sources you have to bring in additional money? Plan your receivables and payables. There is a strategy which we'll be discussing how to go about doing it. But when planning your receivables and payables, don't incorporate it into the cash flow budget of the first 3 months. Tax. Plan your tax payment. If you have difficulty in paying it, go and talk to the authorities, write a letter to them, record it with documentation, so that tomorrow you are not blamed for willfully defaulting. Finally, whatever assistance you are getting from government, kindly go and check it yourself. Don't depend on third party or hearsay. Either you go yourself or send someone from your company who is very dependable and take the information and follow up on it immediately. We'll come to the next people. We have a number of people working with us, and we always have an opinion about them. Our opinion based purely on how they interact with us. As top people, unfortunately, this is a feeling which most people have. Today is the time when you should do a clear-cut, assessment of the talent that you have. Very objective assessment of all the key people. Who are the main drivers of your company? And who appear to be drivers but are only sycophants? The time has come for you to understand who are the real drivers of the company. This is going to matter a lot. Please remember one thing. This crisis will pass away one day, but the decisions you take today will remain with you forever. If you decide to keep on a person who is not contributing, he will continue to be a drain on your exchequer. And if you decide to remove a person who is very important because it does not appear to be so, your revenue is going to go down. Do a very objective assessment of the talent. And based on those objective assessment, identify the key people and strategize to hold them back. What is required to hold them back? Because post this pandemic, there is going to be a mad scramble for efficient people. Believe me, there is going to be a mad scramble. Even in the 1918 epidemic, there was a mass migration, huge unemployment was there, and when there was huge unemployment, people would have thought the salaries and wages will come down. The reverse happened. Salaries and wages went up because good people were difficult to find, and those good people were demanding their pound of flesh. The same thing is going to happen now. Unemployment is going to go up, no doubt. But good people will be able to call their shots because companies are going to require efficient people, and these efficient people will come at a cost. They are going to be few and far between, and they are going to come at a cost. So it is absolutely essential that you have a clear-cut strategy. Second thing is, these people have to come on board and plan with you how to take the company forward. So you will have to be transparent with them and, share your thoughts, your vision for the company, and bring them on board to guide the company along with you to that destination. Because you alone are not going to be able to do anything. It is only as a team that you will be able to perform. So identification of key people is going to be a major challenge. For that, talent assessment is going to be extraordinarily important. The third, labor pooling. What do I mean by labor? Now you see, there is a peculiar situation in our country today. 60% of the laborers across the country are migrant laborers. And these 60% are not interested in staying where they are. They want to go home. And rightly so. And this has got nothing to do with food or money. It is plain fear. What they are feeling is, if we have to die, let us go home to our family, and whatever has to happen, let it happen. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very much.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
So you see, they have all gone back. Now there is a peculiar problem. Supposing a factory has 100 people working in it, and 60% are migrant laborers, and they have left, the factory has got only 40 people. The factory has spent time, energy, money, effort in developing all these people to carry out different functions, and now suddenly these people have left. It is going to take more time, money, effort to recruit 60 more people, and from where? So many people are not available within the state. So what can be done? Now, if there are 4 factories like that, each have lost 60 each and have got 40 each, how will they run the factory? It is here, that we have to forget the concept of competition, get into a mood of collaboration, share mutually our labor, so that every factory can run at least for 1/3 or 1/4 of the time, and we can start coming back and start doing business while we can look for alternative solutions. Labor pooling is going to become a very, very important thing. Without labor pooling, without reaching out to companies who carry out your type of business and your type of manufacturing, it is going to be very difficult. From standalone, we have to move towards a cluster concept. Like-minded companies of sectors, similar sectors, will have to form clusters and start functioning. This has got multiple advantages. As we move forward, we will see why the time is right for such a move. Labor pooling is a very, very serious thing that you'll have to look at. Remember one thing, if you go to see some companies, might think, I'll go to the villages and bring people. First thing is, these village people, they are all agrarian in nature, and they might not fit immediately into your atmosphere. Second thing is, they will have their agrarian, farming and harvesting importance, there are sowing season, harvesting season, all these things, when you will get into trouble in your manufacturing. Second thing is, when they realize that you are in dire need, they will hike up their prices. All sorts of complications will arise. But if you decide to pool your resources among your cluster, it is possible for you to overcome it. And with time, all those who have gone will also come back. Because you see, they can't permanently be sitting in their villages. They all require livelihood, and their villages also can provide them only that much of livelihood. The final thing is, the day of contingent talent has arrived. Some people might have positions in their company which requires very little work. These could be sourced out. Outsourcing can become a major cost reduction strategy now. Instead of having a fixed cost of a person doing an accounting job in your firm, you could outsource it to an accounting firm who can send a person once a week and update your books. Depending upon the size of the company, the nature of the outsourcing can be decided. Big companies can do outsourcing in a different way. Small companies can do outsourcing in a different way, but all in all, contingent talent exploitation is going to be a very, very important strategy in your people strategy. Please think about it. So we have 4 points here. First, sit down, assess the talents which you have got currently. Who are the people who are very important, who are the main drivers of the business? Number 2, who are the people who are important but for the time being dispensable? Number 3, who are there but not pulling their weight around? Number 4, how do you join hands with other similar companies in your cluster and share the labors so that both of you can function efficiently with the reduced heads? Number 5, how you can use contingent talent which is available in the market to outsource and reduce your fixed cost. Inventory management. This is a very, very important thing. Immediately, since you have got time now, take inventory of your finished goods, raw material, essential spare parts, and office consumables. I'm sure no top man has a ready list of all these things, but these are going to play an extremely important role in the days to come. What is the inventory of finished goods that we have got? What are the raw materials which are required? Remember one thing, if 10 items are required for the manufacture of a single product, if even one of them is not there, the entire process will come to a breakdown. What are the essential spare parts which are required? Oftentimes, only after a problem has happened, we order for the spare part which is required. But now, my dear friend, it might not be that easy to get that spare part. So for all those, go back into history, try to understand through your production manager and with your understanding, what are the parts which are likely to break down, and see whether you have got those spare parts ready with you. If not, what steps you need to take to get it. Look into it. And then office consumables. Oftentimes we find in the office, some items are extremely, hugely stocked, and some items we don't have at all. We have to now learn to work with a balance and have everything in adequate quantity, neither surplus, neither nor short. For that, you have to take an immediate inventory. Don't wait for the shutdown to be lifted. Even during shutdown, if possible, you or any of your, all those people who are in charge of the stores or other things can make a list of it, and you can prepare yourself. After that, list the surplus and what are the deficient items. Make a list of it. It will be very useful to you in due course. For whatever is deficient, identify from whom you used to purchase and place an order. First come, first serve. If you place the order now itself, at least when the shutdown is lifted, you can be assured that if there is no major problem between you and the supplier existing, you are likely to get it in time. Downtime can be saved by doing this. Negotiate the supply terms. Be clear upfront. Talk to him. Now, how this can be done, we will see when we come to supply chain. But don't forget to make the supply terms clear. You might be having some outstanding with him. What is your past history of payment? What is the past history of his supplying behavior? All those things, take it into account and clearly negotiate the terms of this order. Reach out again for pooling. You see, our supplies are dependent on various factors. Countries across the world are being hit. China is one of the biggest exporters to us. We import a huge amount. For instance, pharma industry imports nearly 70% of the active pharmaceutical ingredients from China. Many countries from where goods were coming to us, they are reeling under a very severe corona pandemic. So things might not come. Even if you order, the person might not be in a position to supply you. The best thing at this juncture would be to pool your resources. If you form a cluster, you can pool your resources and share it based upon the requirement, and all of you can do your business. You know, it looks like we are going back to the bartering system of the Stone Ages. You don't have B, the other person doesn't have A, but you have a lot of A and he has a lot of B. You could both exchange adequate quantity as per your requirement, and both of you can do business. For this, you will have to initiate the formation of clusters immediately. Somebody has to take the leadership and start forming clusters. Reach out for pooling. That is the best way of coming out of this problem. And for pooling, you should know very clearly what it is you have and what it is you don't have. Because you will have to offer something in return for something from the other person. And finally, whatever surplus you have an immediate liquidation plan. Be it in the form of, finished goods, it could be in the form of raw material, or you might have some spare parts more, some other manufacturer might require them. In all these cases, plan the liquidation so that you can convert it into money or material at the earliest and easiest possible way. So inventory management begins with take stock of the inventory, get your finished goods list, your raw material list, what you have, what you require, what are the essential spare parts which you require for your factory, what are the office consumables you require, what is the list of surplus items you have got, what is the list of deficient items which are there, what item requires to be ordered, to whom, and what is your terms of relation with him. Negotiate the supply terms, reach out to other members of your own cluster, of your own type of industry for pooling. See if they require any particular raw material which you have got surplus of. See if they are ready to exchange with you raw material which you don't have, which they might have in surplus, and then plan the liquidation of all the surplus that you have got. Now we come to the supply chain. Very, very important thing. Unless your customer and your supplier knows that you are there in the market after the COVID pandemic, everything is going to be lost. First and foremost, you need to let them know consistently that you are a serious player even after the COVID pandemic. And they require to be assured consistently. You have to communicate consistently with your customers and suppliers. One word of caution. Don't expose your pain points. Absolutely don't expose your pain points. Whatever may be the motivation from him, whatever he may say, listen, but don't expose your pain points. Because everybody will be looking for signs that this person will not be there. Please understand one thing, if you have got 100 rupees with you and you have to pay someone, you'll only pay the person with whom you can do business. You will not pay a person who is going to go out of business. And you will pay the person who not only can you do business with, but who will be of help to you. It is simple business sense. So first thing is talk to them regularly, consistently till your business opens and you start transacting business with him. But during this period, please talk with him, but don't let him understand your pain points. Second thing is focus on your existing customers. This is not the time to go fishing for new customers. Okay, if new customers come because your competitors have, shut down or they are unable to service him, then well and good. But don't go fishing for them. Don't waste your time on that. Focus on your existing customers and retaining your existing business. A bird in hand is always worth two in the bush. Concentrate on the bird in hand. But keep an eye out for what your competitor is doing. If you find weaknesses in his activity or his ability to recover from this, then you can move it. But otherwise, don't do that. Collaborate with him. Both of you together, together you can excel. Alone, the chances of sinking are more. That is why I said cluster is going to be a major strategy going forward. Competitiveness is going to give way to collaboration in the next 1 to 2 years. Collaboration is the password. The more you collaborate, the more everyone will be able to grow and more everyone will be able to survive. Because it has always been seen that demand peaks after 2 years, after the recovery has started. It takes 1 or 2 years to recover and then the demand really peaks. The same thing happened in 1918. After 1922, the market went for a massive boom. Similarly, you see after 2022 or 2023, the market will really grow like anybody's business. At that time, we can all compete with each other and build our company. But till then, the ideal decision would be to collaborate, support each other and survive. That should be the mantra. Make it easier for your customers to do business with you. When I say make it easier, don't sacrifice your value. Don't sacrifice the value of doing business that you are doing business, but give them incentives to do business. Make the process easier. Go the extra mile. Whatever your business is, you know how you can go the extra mile. Go the extra mile. Build advantages into doing business with you. Provide better service. Provide better deliveries. Make it easier for your customer to do business so that you see doing business with you should be the last thing he should worry about. He should be happy that at least when he's doing business with you, he's in a comfort zone. Renegotiate a mutually beneficial purchase and sales term. Maybe, if you have got surplus cash with you, you can offer payments in, better payment terms for better delivery terms. He will also be happy that he is able to encash his product as money. You will also be happy that you don't have to place too much in advance a product, an order. So negotiate a better mutually beneficial sales and purchase term. Explore new delivery strategies. This is going to become very important, particularly for those people who are sending goods long distance. What it is you can do so that products can be delivered better, services can be delivered better. It is very, 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 very important. Explore, look at it. Explore for new suppliers and keep your eyes open for new markets. Why I'm saying explore new suppliers? Because you don't know how many of your suppliers are going to be in a condition to do business post-COVID. So if you're not going to keep your eyes open, if you're not going to be pragmatic about, looking for new suppliers, you might suddenly find that the person you are hanging on to is giving you excuses every day, because he will not tell you that he does not have money to procure in bulk, so he's unable to supply you. He will say, sir, it's coming, this is coming, that is coming. All these excuses will continue, but the goods will not come. Then you will only be in trouble. Don't allow that to happen. Keep looking for new suppliers. Similarly, market dynamics are going to change. Customers are going to change. Many of the customers we are doing business with today might not be there. Keep your eyes open. Actively do not go chasing new customers, but keep your eyes open. Actively chase existing customers, but at the same time, be aware of the possibility that they might also be in trouble. So the 5 things is, first and foremost, communicate immediately with all your suppliers and purchasers, customers. Communicate with them, talk to them regularly, assure them that you are there, you are available, and that you intend to do serious business after the COVID. Second thing is, focus on your existing customers and don't go in search of new customers. Don't target for new customers. Your plan should be to service existing customers. Third thing is, make it easier for your existing customers to do business with you. Since you have been doing business with them all these days, you know their likes and dislikes, how they will behave, how they will act. You see, there is this principle of reciprocity. If you make things easier for them, they will make things easier for you. Wherever you can make your life more easy without going into undue risk, you need to make it more easy. You need to be alert to the possibility of easing the tensions in your life. Negotiate a better purchase and sales term with all your customers as well as suppliers. Talk to them. Ask them, how can I give you better service, and in return, what can I get from you? Always offer something and then ask. Negotiation in these times is going to be, directed towards a win-win. Always be willing to give in something and take something, but definitely try to arrive at a better solution. Explore new delivery strategies. We get habituated to doing things in a certain way. We need to break that mold. Only then we can create a new path. Look for new strategies and explore new suppliers. And keep your eyes open. We saw in the second point that we have to keep an eye on the competitor activity. When you find one of your competitor is weakening, is unable to face the onslaught of the post-COVID problems, that is an opportunity for you, because somebody has to service it. You should not actively go and gobble him up, but definitely the avenue created by him can be utilized. So keep your eyes open for new markets. Now we come, my dear friend, to market demand. A very, very important thing. In market demand, we need to understand first and foremost is that the purchasing behavior of the customer is going to change drastically, very drastically. His risk aversion is going to reduce dramatically. His loss aversion is going to increase phenomenally. And above all, the disposable income is going to go down, and combined with a reduction in the disposable income, the propensity to save is going to go up. When we were planning our journey to the desired state, we had taken into account that supposing there was a second hit and the same sort of a problem came up again, we should not be caught unawares. We should be prepared at that stage. So what should any company do? Have a contingency fund which will ensure a minimum 3 to 6 months cash flow budgeting without any problem. That means right from the day you start doing business anew, you'll have to start saving for that possibility that our dear friend COVID might come back again. If you have to make a plan for that, you'll have to save. If you can think like this, your customer can also think like this. He is also going to save and improve on his savings, and he is not going to spend on unnecessary things. Where two pieces are required, he is going to buy one, and that too after a lot of deliberation and after a lot of comparison as to what is available in the market. Under the circumstances, your handling of the market situation becomes very, very important. The customer, if you have to approach him, the first thing you have to do is start communicating with him. He should know very clearly, and you should be at the top of his mind. So you should constantly talk to your existing customer. And when I say talk to your existing customer, it should be in a reassuring manner. I have heard many people tell me of the discussions they have had with their customer and supplier. You know what the discussion mainly was? It was an exchange of pain points and how difficult things are and how difficult things could become, and many of them say, I don't know what is going to happen. Let us see what the government is going to do. Let us see what XYZ is going to do. This is not the discussion you should be having with them. For the simple reason, the more you talk of pain point, you see, human psychology is, it wants to move away from pain. It is not as much bothered about gain as it is in moving away from pain. And whoever offers a pain balm becomes the best friend. And people always do business with best friends. When you are talking to your customer, allow him to talk about his pain, but you please don't talk about your pain. Just by talking about it, the pain is not going to go away. But if you don't talk about it, chances are that your customer will get an impression that you are a very strong person, and everyone would love to go out in the night, in the dark, with only a strong person. No one would love to be accompanied by a weak person in a dark street in a dark night. So be that strong person, become that good friend for your customer who can stand by him in days of his need. This is an excellent opportunity for you to understand him, understand his pain point. I am not telling exploit that pain point. I am telling service that pain point. When you service the pain point, you become his partner in his journey to recover. You are no more a person who services him. You become his partner. You become his confidant. You become his friend. And in these difficult days, what you require more than a customer is a person who will depend on you, so that you will not depend on him. The more he depends on you, the more you are on a stronger footing to do business with him. Once that is over, reassure him. Once you understand his pain points, reassure him. There are so many ways of reassuring. Tell him that you are there for him. That once the business opens, you will go all out and see how best to service him. Maybe there are many things which you can do for him and certain things which you can't. Maybe you can give him ideas of how he can get help and succor in those areas from somebody else. The more you help him, the more you reassure him, the more you understand him, the more he will become dependent on you, and more you will be able to ensure that the business stays with you. Others will not be able to enter even by giving inducements which possibly you could not give. Because friends, in a time when business is going to become very difficult, we will be entering into a dog-eat-dog world. At that time, if you are going to stand head and shoulder above others as a person who is dependable and who can be believed, you are definite to come out success. And finally, serve him. Even before the lockdown period, Serve him with information, serve him with references, serve him in whichever way you can, serve him with, guidance, serve him with advices, serve him with, moral support, whichever way you can, so that, it should be a seamless transition into doing business with him from now to then. Customer is the man on whom you are depending to do your business. And this is the time for you to build a relationship with him. You need not wait till the shutdown is lifted for you to start talking to him. You can start immediately. Talk to him once in 2 days, 3 days. Just ask him about his welfare. Build a relationship with him. Understand his pain points. Don't tell your pain points. Assure him about all your support. Apply the necessary balm. Give him whatever service you can at this juncture. He will remember you and he will come back to you after the shutdown is lifted. In a period when demand is going to go down, even the smallest demand coming to you will be a big blessing and a boon. This is the time to prepare for it. Many people would not be doing that. You take the lead so that you will be ahead of all those people in doing business. The post-disaster management. Okay, if you have done all these 26 things, what is it you need to do at the time when, on the day when it opens? A few of these things you can even start right now. The first thing is form or create a mitigation forum in your locality, in your area, in your cluster. Check out who are the other people doing your type of business. Reach out to your competitors. Tell them, let us come together and form a forum so that all of us together can face this problem. Because this mitigation forum which you will create can be the ideal place to start the labor pooling, to start the resource pooling. Once you have done this, the mitigation forum is created. Sit down and identify and prioritize the key issues. What are the key issues which your industry is facing, which is unique to your industry? Every industry has its unique problems. All industries are not the same. So you need to prioritize that which are the key issues which we need to address. Third thing is, identify the internal and external resources. Internal resources could be, what is a resource you currently see? You have done your, listing of, raw materials, your finished goods, your, essential spare parts, office consumables. These are, and the money which you have got, your budgeting, what you have done. All these things are internal resources. External resources. Check up what are the external resources which each one of you can harvest. Create a list of it. Who can do what? Who can bring what to the table? Then plan a recovery strategy. Plan how to pull up the companies from where it is today and take it to the desired state that you people have planned. Create a strategy and a roadmap for that. Now pool all the resources that you have got. Alone, if you are able to achieve 50%, believe me, if all of you pool your resources, you will be able to achieve at least 75%. Money, your raw materials, labor, technology, pool everything. Alone, you might find it very, very difficult to face up to the problems. But if there are others along with you, you will find a shoulder to lean on, a hand to help you and pull you up. We can compete with each other later once we survive and come out of the ditch we have fallen into because of the COVID-19. Afterwards, we can compete with each other, use our individual abilities, skills, and resources to climb and grow. But initially, together as a team, we can definitely excel. Our immediate priority should be to recover and come to a state where we can think of something ahead. Finally, have a time frame for all this. You cannot do it indefinitely. The mitigation forum should be time bound. That this mitigation forum, we are planning for 1 year, let us say, or 6 months, or 1 year, or 3 months. We will pool our resources during these 3 months, 6 months. What is going to be the formula on which we will share the resources so pooled? Who is going to take how much from it? You can have, historical data can help you in that. You can plan how to use the resources, in what way to use the resources. You can decide upon the strategy for using the resources and sharing the proceeds of that use in a time-bound manner. This will ensure that you will be able to come out of the problem. So what is the post-disaster management strategy? It begins with formation of a mitigation forum. Form a group from your cluster. Sit down in a dispassionate manner, identify and prioritize the key issues that you are facing. Is it raw material? Is it payment? You see, even if it is payment, if all of you are together, you can lay down certain guidelines for your customers that unless you pay like this, we will not be as a group able to service you. Instead of being very harsh, you can tell them nicely that, sir, our survival is at stake. So you please help us. You can talk to them, negotiate with them. When they find that all these people have ganged up together, they will also come down and help you. They will listen to you. But alone, if you go and talk, he will think, if this guy is not there, that guy is there. Why should I listen to him? So forming a group will always be better. Forming a cluster will be a very, very good thing. I think this COVID-19 is going to act as a huge stimulus in the formation of cluster in various industries. And that is the obvious next step. Clusters are the way. We have to form clusters, only then we will be able to face, particularly for small scale industries, cluster is very important because we need to put a unified face, they should see us as one. Identify the internal, external resources so that even a small resource with somebody can be helpful to everyone. Develop recovery strategy, and when you all together help each other in implementing the strategy, the chances of the strategy succeeding are very, very high. Finally, share the resources and have a formula for sharing the proceeds of that sharing. Work out a mutually acceptable formula of sharing it, support each other, and with confidence, go ahead and in a time frame, implement it. Friends, another half an hour is left out. I'm sure you must be having some questions. I will take questions, and then, maybe we can decide upon what we should do going forward. Yes, any questions?
Ms. Nancy, please go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. Nancy has asked a question. The question is, currently the competition is using this time to go forward. The time needed for the team to build this collaboration is dependent on the time frame of this supply-demand cycle. You see, the time needed to build the collaboration will depend upon the leadership. You will have to reach out and explain to them the consequences of trying to go it alone. Once you show them the consequences, automatically the leadership will be able to convince the need for collaboration. You see, I will tell you one thing. Statesmanship is required at this stage. See, greed will not help. And any person trying to be competitive in this destructive environment is showing a characteristic which is not good for business leadership. For instance, let us assume you don't have any requirement today. You might have all the raw materials, you might have sufficient money with you. Labor also you might be able to get from a village. This might run for 1 month or 2 months, but at the end of that period, if you are unable to source any raw material, what will happen to your business? Did you ever think about it? Because you see, these are uncertain times. As per the experts, the COVID-19 pandemic is going to peak somewhere around May 15th. That is what the study shows. We are only on April 13th. We are still 1 month away from peaking. After peaking, the graph will come down, it will stabilize, and then also the virus will remain all over the place. How do you know it will not come back in a muted form and ravage the world again? And even if a vaccine is found now, in any way, it will be at least 1.5 years before the trials can be conducted, it can come back and it can be used. And second thing, even today, H1N1 vaccine, every year a new vaccine is introduced because there is a mutation in the H1N1 virus. And every year in August, September, doctors advocate the administration of that vaccine. So what makes us think that the coronavirus will be any different? And if history is proof of something, it is proof that it can repeat itself. Human failures have always repeated itself. That is the unfortunate part of it. So we will have to reach out, convince people, and form a forum. The competition, it cannot go forward. You be absolutely sure of it. It is a short-sighted attitude and not a long-term business strategy. And your opinion that we have a less virulent strain in India is not substantiated by any medical proof. And all that talk about Indians being more resistant because of a dirty environment and all that is pure talk, it is not substantiated. Let us not forget, our environment today is much more cleaner and we live in much more hygienic conditions than what we were living in 1950. We lost a huge number of people.
Hello, can I come in?
Please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vijay Raghavan, President of Lagudyog Bharati, Tamil Nadu. Just want to share my thoughts about this meeting today. I think, sir, appreciations to you, Mr. Arun, for giving out an excellent presentation on how to mitigate the strategy post-corona period. Thank you so much for this excellent presentation because of two reasons. One is in a day when everybody are thinking about the problem and discussing on the problem, at least from the small and medium industries, we are happy somebody is giving some solutions to the problem. So,
thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for that. But more importantly, sir, from the entire presentation of yours, I think MSMEs are very much less prepared on all the areas of whatever you said, whether it is cash flow, the employees, the inventory status, supply chain, market demand. I think these are all very, very critical areas for every MSME to look at it and get ready for the post-lockdown activity. And probably once they have done this, then they can look at the post-disaster management. But long way to go for SMEs, MSMEs particularly. I'm not sure the participants who are all today are MSMEs, but I would suggest that we have one exclusive program for all our MSME industries together on this, and it will be very helpful to all our industries, is what I feel.
I am at your service, sir. Whenever you want, you tell me. I will be available round the clock. In whichever way you want, I am ready to put myself at your disposal.
Thank you so much.
MSMEs are the backbone of this country.
Yeah, very true, very true. Unfortunately, we are. This is the right time to sharpen our skills also, because a lot of us have been running around with all the day-to-day activities, and we have a lot of time to sharpen our skills. And as you rightly said in the beginning of the meeting, it is all in the mind. Every MSME industry owners should have a positive frame of mind at this point of time and see that they all work together and come out successfully post-COVID and make India a big manufacturing hub for the future.
And you see today, earlier about 3-4 years back, the talk of the town, the catchphrase was Brexit.
Correct.
Today it is Kexit.
Okay.
China exit has come, and Japan has already started offering, companies exiting China for space in their country. Why should we not be the preferred destination? And definitely I can tell you, MSME, you see, if they know that cluster is an option and we can all work together and build ourselves, they would be the happiest people under the sun. Because you see, MSME, the biggest problem is one lone man fighting a losing battle. That is how MSME is.
Very true.
If all of them come together, they will become a massive force to reckon with. And who knows, coronavirus might be the reason. It might be the, turning point for MSMEs.
Very true, sir. That is the positive way of taking it, and that is what exactly Lagudyog Bharati is trying to do in today's situation. We are trying to motivate the MSMEs and educate them and train them. So probably with your support, we will also motivate our people also in the near future, sir.
Would be very happy to be of any use to you, sir.
Thank you once again, Mr. Arun. Thank you for the excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Vijayaraghavan.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. This is Anand.
Yes, Mr. Anand.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your valuable time that you spent, and it was a wonderful, discussion you had it, and it was very useful for us. One thing. Second thing is we are also into the healthcare industry. What we are looking for now here is, are we able to get any kind of a partnership with you guys? I know that you are into the paramedical industry, where you used to produce a lot of drugs for the medicines or for the.
I'm unable to hear you clearly, Mr. Anand. Can you just type your question also here, so that I will be able to correlate what you're telling with what you have typed?
Sure. Now, is it audible now?
No, it is not audible very clearly. That's why I'm telling.
Okay, fine then, no problem. I will type it up and then I'll send it to you through your email.
Type it and then you
That's
also
fine.
tell me.
No
So that
issues.
I can
And thank you for your valuable time that you spent. Hello, sir. I think I'm done. I'm done from my end. I'll email my questions to your email address and then we can discuss further.
Do you know my email ID? All of you can take down my email ID. Please see the chat. I have already given my email ID, trainerguild@gmail.com. Any question you have, please mail me. I would only be very happy to reply you. I will also, if you can mail me your email ID, I will send you the 26 checklist. Based on that,
Hello.
you can start working. Yes?
Hello.
Yes, who is speaking?
Sir, good afternoon. Prithviraj here, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Prithviraj. Nice of you to come. Solungo.
I have a question, sir.
Please.
Sir, many appreciations and thanks for the valuable time during the lockdown also. And we had a very good time in terms of, addressing the post-lockdown situation. My question at this point in time is, is this the right time that we can negotiate very hard with the suppliers so that we can make a good deal out of them, though certain things have been agreed upon already?
See, this is not the right time to negotiate hard with anyone. Because you see, Mr. Prithviraj, I will tell you, in difficult periods, people expect others to negotiate hard. And that is not the way to win a person. And secondly, you really do not know what is right just around the corner. If you take a hard stance today, and you see, some people might have money with them, so they might drive a very hard bargain. But then tomorrow, if the same person is required for some other thing, then he will start playing hardball, and that might not be a very comfortable thing. Now, my advice to whoever asks me is, be the hand that applies the balm now. Time will come to play hardball, but this is not the time.
No, when it comes to my business, all my suppliers are from OEMs only, OEMs from Germany and China. So not the local suppliers I'm trying to bargain with. If it is going to be from the corporates, is that the right strategy to do it?
No, second thing I would always suggest is, you see, doing business from across the border at this time could be a risky thing. Because you really, see, where China is concerned, whatever it puts out into the international media as news, is take it with a pinch of salt. Always take it with a pinch of salt. And Europe today does not seem to be going in the direction of being able to do business in the near term. Things are only worsening. Those companies who are dependent for their raw material and goods on China and Europe and US, put a big question mark around the supply position. I think the India shutdown will lift much earlier than Europe. China has already lifted the shutdown in terms of industry, but in terms of general citizens, the Hubei province, it's still under a lockdown. They are not having an ability to move. And you really do not know what is going to happen with the goods which are going to come from there. There are lots of complaints of quality of the goods which is coming out of China. The world does not have, you must have heard that lots of masks and respirators were sent back by Spain and Italy because of defective quality. And you really do not know what is going to happen. And this is not the time to, Mr. Prithviraj, as far as I know, you are in a position to attain leadership in your field very conveniently, because you are very, very comfortably placed in terms of people, in terms of market reputation, in terms of being prepared to, attack the market in a big way once the shutdown is lifted. And when you start growing, you are going to require all these suppliers to support you. A growing person requires more friends than a person who is in trouble. This is an excellent opportunity for you to give a helping hand to all those people, so that they will remember your magnanimity and grace and always stand by you. That is my suggestion.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Arun, this is Daniel.
Yes, tell me, Mr. Daniel.
Now, which industry do you think would pick up much faster after the lockdown? What are the industries?
See, I don't think we should play the prediction game here, because we really do not know. Very frankly speaking, the pharma industry is doing very well, but then that is because pharmaceutical intervention they think will be useful. But then one very peculiar thing which has come out is, in spite of the fact that OPDs are not running, emergency units in the hospital are empty. So suddenly people have become healthy. It very clearly shows, that, a lot of medicines are being taken by people which are not required. So you really do not know in what way people are going to wake up. And which industries, you see, definitely luxury goods industries is going to take a hit. Entertainment industry is going to take a hit. Hospitality industry is going to take a hit. You might have read in the newspaper that planes are going to go with alternate or 2 seats vacant. That means for every row of 3 seats, only one person will be sitting. So automatically, flying will become very costly. And then you see, if there is going to be social distancing, train travel will become a risky thing. People will not travel much by train. Buses will go with half full people. Transportation industry will take it. Name one industry which is not going to take a hit. Petroleum industry has already taken a hit. So you see, it's very difficult to say, but one thing is for sure, what happened in 1918 is happening again. Industry will rebound. Manufacturing sector will definitely do well. Service sector will also do well, but after a period of time. In the midterm, manufacturing industry will definitely improve. You see, as of March 10th, the 5.1 GDP had already come down to 4.8. And all indications are that by the time the lockdown lifts, it will come down by another 0.5 to 0.8%. That means it's a huge hit. Let us see, let us not play the predicting game. What I personally feel is, the big companies will survive. But it is the small companies which requires very sound leadership. Like Mr. Vijay Raghavan said, the small companies which require the even medium scale companies will not get that affected, but small companies, yes. Small companies and tiny industries are going to be very seriously affected. And they are the people who require good leadership. They are the people who have to understand that we can survive only if are together. Competition is not the name of the game. Collaboration is the name of the game now. If you collaborate, you succeed. If you compete, I don't know what will happen to the person with whom you compete, but one thing is definite. Succeeding for you will become a very risky affair. Any other questions, please?
Do you think the banks will be generous in giving loans, or will there be a crunch?
Banks are never generous unless they get a prodding from the government. They will continue to behave the way they do. And you see, only about 2 days back, some financier, some consultant was telling on the TV that even if the Reserve Bank of India were to bring down the interest rate to 0, banks will require to be prodded to extend the benefit to the people. But yes, definitely the government will do what it has to. It is in the interest of the government to do what best it can. And I don't think, that the banks will be far away. But again, we will be requiring the help of agencies to convince the bank to support. They will continue in their, manner as they see. That is the way a banker thinks. You can't blame him.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, what will be the role of HR people in the coming days?
You see,
Nowadays
HR is going to have to play a very, very important role. Very, very important role, for the simple reason. You see, when you are going to assess your talent in a very pragmatic manner, because you see, cost cutting is going to be a major exercise in every company. Without undertaking a cost cutting exercise, it's not going to work. Second thing is, already many companies have started talking of taking a salary cut, bonuses are not being given, performance incentives are being cut. Here, lot of dissatisfaction will start creeping in the mind of employees. And a dissatisfied employee is as good as a competitor. He will pull you down. Even if he doesn't produce, he will act towards taking you in the negative direction. And here HR people will have to play a very, very important role.
Right now, they are not, that too much concentrated in HR really. They are doing mostly admin work.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You see, HR in the real sense, I will not say everyone is not doing, but a majority are not.
Generally, yeah, that's it.
They
Exceptions.
Have to, now whatever they have studied in their college about organizational behavior, time for them to put it to use.
Yeah, that's what I...
It is time for them to put it to use. That age-old saying, put your money where your mouth is, the time has come.
Yep.
Otherwise, it is better we go back to those old days when you had a personal manager and not a HR manager.
Correct. Personal management. DIPR. Diploma in public relations.
Issue appointment letter, file it. Receive resignation letter, file it.
That's what they are doing nowadays. It is all gone, no. We got to definitely do something on HR. Really, they have to apply. Correct. Fine.
Yes,
Mr. Arun.
Yes.
Mohan here. So, so you were mentioning about the industries, especially the manufacturing industries, would be having a good opportunity to look inward and investigate on their business processes. You touched upon that.
Yes.
So, is that? Can you expand on that, Arun? So, what they should need to do, and what is the need of the hour for them?
You see, when I say business processes, Mr. Mohan, you are an expert on lean. You see, this would be the right time to look at it from the angle of process efficiency and reduction of wastage, both in terms of time, manpower, and material. What better than implementation of lean principles into your business processes? Don't you think that would be the most ideal thing? It will reduce material consumption. It will reduce time for production. And it will reduce manpower which is required to do a process. Automation is another option available. Maybe the initial investment for automation might be a bit high, but in the long run, it will not only pay itself back, it will also insulate you from the problems which this coronavirus has exposed. Today, those manufacturing companies which are automated have less problem than those who are labor intensive, because all the labor has left and gone back to Bihar, UP, Assam and Bengal. What do you have? You are left holding a bag and you don't have people to work. I think we will have to be ready to reimagine our businesses and reform in the process. What better, you are forced to do it now. You cannot anymore give an excuse that I will do it tomorrow. Tomorrow does not exist anymore. It is today or never.
Yeah, but I only assume that, business leaders are having a focus on that area because they tend to normally assign very low priority for that. Even when they were...
Corona has given the priority. Whatever they may say, Corona has already... You see, Corona, according to me, is a reset button. Nature has pressed the reset button. It has said, behave yourself. You just imagine, you can't go out onto the streets of Chennai or Bangalore. There was so much of congestion. Today, people are happy sitting at home. So you see, all the people who are coming out onto the streets did not necessarily have to come. They were coming. Why? It had become a compulsion. Sitting at home was an option. What did Corona do? Sitting at home has become a compulsion. Going out is a choice. What better reset button do you want?
Yeah, I agree.
And you see, ultimately doing business is all about making money. Making money means what? Every penny saved is a penny earned. People were keeping employees who did not pull their weight. They were indulging in processes which was time consuming, material consuming, manpower consuming. Whereas, putting in good processes, good manufacturing principles could have reduced all these things. Now you will have forced to do it. See, if you want to achieve cost leadership, if you want to offer a pricing advantage to the customer, which he is going to demand now because his purchasing behavior is going to change after this, you will have to adopt principles which will encourage all these things. Without that,
They can't buy.
leaders don't have an excuse anymore.
The monetary situation will become worse.
Yes, it will become very seriously bad.
They can't buy. You have to cut your price.
If you have to cut the price, you'll have to cut the cost of manufacturing it.
Excellent. That is the way. There is no other go.
If you have to cut the cost of manufacturing, you will have to apply lean principles.
In principles.
Reduce wastage, manpower, material, everything.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it. The choice is yours. Take it or leave it.
Sir, one more question, sir.
Please.
So what will be the mindset of the employees when it comes to MSME? Because all these days throughout, they'll be running through a lot of decisions in their mind, whether to stick around with the MSMEs or to jump to the corporate for better lifestyle, better salaries, etc. How do we approach our skills in terms of retaining them so that the business is ensured, sir?
I am unable to hear you, Mr. Prithviraj is speaking, isn't it?
Yeah. It's me only. It is me only, sir. It's audible now. Is it audible, sir?
Line disturbance.
Okay.
And Mr. Giridharan has observed one thing very interesting, Automation in a world of labor union will have to be introduced, not immediately, but slowly. I agree with him. But labor union will also have to wake up to the fact that if the industry survives, labor survives. Without the industry, there will be no labor, there will be no labor union. They have to join hands with the management in pulling the company out of the problem it is in because of COVID-19 and coming out. I think, agencies like LUB and other non-governmental agencies have a very, very big role to play in guiding because they are the flag bearers of guidance for the industry. When they tell something, like if Mr. Vijayaraghavan and his team were to tell, MSMEs that take this path, I think the chances of their taking that path will be much higher than an external agency and individual telling. Because you see, they are considered true well-wishers. And at this juncture of danger, I'm telling you 100% people will think twice before taking any advice. Because already an atmosphere of uncertainty and an atmosphere of fear prevails. In this atmosphere of uncertainty and atmosphere of fear, it is very difficult to take decisions. நம்ம சொல்றதெல்லாம் சொல்லிடலாம் ஆனா டிசிஷன் எடுக்கிற வாழ்க்கை ரொம்ப கஷ்டம் பாவம் அவன் நிலைமை யோசனை பண்ணி பாருங்க அவனுக்கு சாலிடா நம்ம பக்கத்துல நின்று இருக்கோம் தெரிஞ்சானாக்கதான் அவன் இறங்குவான் அதுக்கு இண்டிவிஜுவல்ஸ்க்கு பதிலா நான் கவர்மெண்ட் என்ஜிஓஸ் ரொம்ப ரெப்யூட்டட் என்ஜிஓஸ் who have been accepted by them as அம்மா இவன் நம்மளுக்கு நல்லது பண்றதுக்கு தான் பண்ணுவான்னு அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறவா சொல்லி அதுவும் ரொம்ப டாப் லெவல்ல இருந்து கூட உட்காந்து சொல்லி கண்ணா கவலைப்படாத நாங்க இருக்கோங்கிறது சொல்லி சொன்னாதான் இது வேலை ஆகுமே தவிர இல்லைன்னா they will always look at it with suspicion.
Okay, sir. Thanks for the time, sir.
Yeah. So, Arun sir, I think maybe you can close with your final conclusion. And what next? Not what next is our plan. That you can tell our plan, tell your plan. Then we can close it. Sir.
You see, I am available for any question that you have. If you can send to me, I will definitely answer it. And like Mr. Vijay Raghavan was telling, if he wants me to address any group, I'm ready to address. If you want any of your friends, you have a cluster who required to be addressed and who required to be convinced about this, I am ready to do that. I am available pro bono, no charges, anytime, 24 hours. It
That's
is
Thank
your
you.
great,
call.
sir.
Very kind of you, sir. Thank you, sir.
That's great,
And
sir.
Mr. Ergamani, I'm very sincerely, I thank you for giving me a platform to voice my, thoughts to your clients and your friends. And I am available
Yeah.
anytime you want any other group to be addressed. I'm
Yes,
ready
sir.
to do it.
Yes, sir. It's a great pleasure for us to listen to you and your insights. On behalf of Ozo team, I personally thank you for your very valuable time spent with us. Really great, really great. I personally enjoyed your sessions.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
All the best, friends.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.